All right, we are just starting round one of playoffs for league name TBD. My name is Ben. With me, as always, we have Jake Fossler and Jason Nygren as well. Um, not too much happened last week for week 13. Uh, Pretty much everything took place like we thought it would. The only outlier question mark was Monty making playoffs. As far as fantasy purposes go, last week was a dud for all teams, pretty much. Um, Nothing too exciting took place. For those who haven't paid attention to chat at all, we do have our playoff brackets all set up. So we've got Monty at 8 seed facing Jason, number 1 seed. Congratulations to Jason. He's going to be taking home $25 for sure, at least. So you got half of his buy-in back this year. And then same bracket side, we've got Max, number 5, facing Phil, the previous champion, at number 4. So this is going to be a kind of a fun matchup just because it's the matchup of champions. The only two champions currently in playoffs that are facing each other week 1. So that's kind of fun. And then on the opposite side, the top dog, we have Jude with number 2 facing Elijah, number 7. We'll talk more about that matchup later. And then we have myself at number 3 with Jake at number 6. And the top, if you are the top seed in playoffs, you do get that 1 point bonus. Yes, Jake, we know that should have ended in junior high, but we kept it.
Hey, you might need it.
I needed it last year, and it got me to the championship. So I'm okay with having it. Yeah, so let's just dive into the weekly matchups that are coming up here. Let's talk about the top one here with Jason and Monty. A lot of question marks for Jason. He's out. His top running back of Melvin Gordon.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the moment, you are. We haven't heard anything different that'll tell us otherwise. So I'm just gonna go on the side of error and say that you're without him. But either way, you're still projected 18 points ahead of Monty, so that's still better than not.
Yep. I'm a little bit worried about this matchup. I think it almost seems like it's too good to be true. Like I look at my matchups and every single one of my guys is playing against a 20th. Almost everyone's playing against like a 20th or worst at going against them in terms of the defense positionally, and like Rodgers, Ingram, Michelle, Beckham, Julio, Adams. Everyone looks like they have great matchups, and it just seems like this is the week where it falls apart. No one plays well. Rodgers can't get anything going, coming in with a new coach, and I'm going to get trounced as the 1 seed. It's happened before in our league, and I'm just terrified that it's going to happen again.
I would say it's a decent possibility. I mean, Monty's got that Rivers Keenan Allen stack, and last week, as we saw, I mean, Keenan Allen put up 30 points, 14 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown. Rivers himself, 21.9 points. So those two guys together, especially going up against the Cincinnati team, 31st against quarterbacks. They're 20th against wide receivers. So that's going to be a prime matchup, especially since the Chargers are at home. I think that Rivers could easily toss 2 or 3 touchdowns, and at least 1 or 2 of those could go to Keenan Allen with some yards. So I think if there's any combination that you should be worried about, it's definitely that stack.
I think even. Oh, go ahead, Jake.
Well, call me crazy, but I think Jason wins by 20.
I wouldn't say that's crazy at all.
Philip Rivers is going against Cincinnati. Yeah, they're a dumpster fire, but he may not need to throw it after halftime.
That's true.
I think that Rodgers and Adams are going to connect for at least one. Going against Atlanta's absolutely burnable secondary at home. They just fired their head coach. I feel like that's a little motivation to have a good game. I think that the trade that you made to acquire Sony Michel is paying dividends right now, because having him to slide in there rather than playing Washer,
Howard.
Howard or
Carson or
whoever. It's not. I mean, I think that having Sony Michel against Miami is obviously a plus for you at this point. Beckham could struggle. Washington's defense has been playing well.
It's the one I'm worried about.
He just throws touchdown passes when he doesn't catch them, so it's okay.
6 points is 6 points, man.
The Green Bay secondary, I mean, they play well in spurts, but they're young, and Julio Jones is a savvy, big, physical veteran that's going to eat a lot against them. I don't see a matchup to worry about. I see a lot of teams that need a win, even if it's for morale. I think the Chargers defense might get you 25 against Jeff Driscoll. I don't know. I don't see much parity in this one. Could it happen? Sure. Anybody who's in the playoffs can win, but I don't know. I don't think there's much to see here.
Yeah. And one thing Jason and I talked about earlier is you just look at the times that everybody's playing at. Jason's entire team, aside from Kittle and the Chargers defense, all play the noon game. So not that this game can be decided early on, but this game could be decided early on.
Yeah, you're going to know. You're going to know at about 1:30 how you're sitting.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
which terrifies me, because I'm going to be sitting in front of the TV from 3:30 until 6:30 on Sunday night, agonizing over every single throw Phillip Rivers makes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you get into after the late afternoon games and Rivers is done, I don't know that Trey Burton scares you.
Yeah,
he shouldn't.
Yeah,
he shouldn't.
So, I mean, he's what? I mean, when his last few games, he goose egged last week, and then his previous ones were 1.4 or 2.8. I'm not. Yeah, and the Rams are going to put up points more than likely, but I don't know. Trey Burton just appears to be an afterthought in that offense for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Let's check out that next one. I think we all are in agreement. Jason should win this one. The biggest upset we saw was 2 years ago, Jude against myself. He was the 8th seed, and that was the year that Le'Veon Bell got 60 points by himself. That knocked me out. So, but let's take a look at inclement weather versus the underdogs. So this week, or this matchup here, this one's going to be pretty interesting. Just
that it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, you've got. Oh, I mean, he needs to make. I don't know. Looking at Elijah's lineup, I don't play Mike Williams over White, I don't think. But like I think Jason and I were talking about this as well. Patriots could be beating Miami pretty quick, pretty early, and then Sony Michel could just be running the ball all game rather than, what the Patriots did against the Vikings and just, toss to White. Now, he did get 5 points on that dumpster play at the end of the half, but I don't know. I think I'd still take White and his opportunities of receptions and his couple rushes over Mike Williams, who, I mean, he's hit over
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's scored more than 10 points 4 times, 20 points once. Other than that, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of under 10 points. I don't think Mike Williams has enough upside. I don't think he has a high enough ceiling for me to play him, nor does he have a low enough floor that you would need in case Baltimore does handle Kansas City for Jude. So,
do you feel like he's questioning, and Jason, you can speak to this too, do you feel like there's question with the amount of work that Rex Burkhead got in his first week back. Does that make other New England fantasy back owners nervous?
I think it makes you. There's at least a little level of concern because he took away a little bit from everyone, right? He took some carries, he took some catches, and it's on one hand you're wondering, is Belichick just trying to get him worked back in to just get him a feel? And I don't know. It concerns me. Yeah, it concerns me. It does worry me.
I feel like Sony Michel is the 1A in that backfield. I feel like James White is the pass catcher. I feel like Rex Burkhead is the jack of all trades who can screw anyone over. And I feel like James Devlin got 2 rushing touchdowns.
Don't even talk about James Devlin.
This is part of this went into my decision making with trading Sony Michel. This is a headache that happens every single year, every single week with New England Patriots backs. And I did think that there was a chance that it was over because of how much they invested draft capital-wise in Sony. And I still think that that's probably going to hold true in future years. I don't know that Burkhead is back and whatever next year, but yeah, it's just the headache of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick legitimately hates fantasy football.
It's true. But I mean, when you're looking at, what Burkhead did this last week, I mean, yeah, he got 7 carries. He got 20 yards. He also got 2 receptions for 21 yards. So, yeah, I mean, he took away, 9 total touches and 41 yards. That could have been split up between Sony Michel and James White. However, I mean, James White still got 7 receptions. He led the team in receptions last week. I think he's a viable.
Look at his weeks right before that.
Let's take a look.
He hasn't been as good recently.
Yeah, while Ben's looking that up, I think the thing with White and Burkhead is specifically last week is the Vikings have been really poor for a while with pass catching running backs and giving up catches out of the backfield and guys who can run routes out of the backfield. Their linebackers have done a really bad job of keeping up with them. They've given up yards to Tariq Cohen and others. And so I think that was specific game planning for James White. And we've seen before, a lot of the running back usage in New England is very much game plan specific, where if they think that they're going to be able to take advantage of pass catching, or if they think that they're going to be behind, that game flow is going to determine that White's going to get a lot of work. But if they're going to be up, they're going to be grinding out the clock. That's in years past when we saw it be LeGarrette Blount time, and he'd get 25 carries for 90 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns, right? Yeah. And so I feel like more than almost any team in the NFL that they are as game flow dependent when it comes to running back usage as anyone, which can make it hard to predict because, I mean, you look back a couple weeks ago and you look at the Patriots against Tennessee and you would assume that should be a game the Patriots should dominate. They should win that game pretty easily. And it was exactly the opposite. So anyone who played any Patriot that week lost because they sucked, but it's hard to predict. And I think that maybe that's part of what Elijah is going with it. He's just, because looking at his team, even if, like, he has to have a lot of stuff go his way, right? Like, for Jude to be beatable, the Chiefs have to have a down week. Like, it can't be like Elijah saying my ceiling is better than, like, I can compete with Jude if I hit my ceiling. Even if Elijah hits his ceiling is maybe 130 at best, and Jude is averaging 130.
Right.
And so he needs to hope not only that the Chiefs do poorly, that Mahomes only throws 1 or 2 touchdowns, and that he really doesn't throw to Hill or Kelsey. He needs them to get shut down by Baltimore. Then on top of that, he needs his upside guy. He needs upside plays. So he's probably thinking I need Mike Williams to get 1 or 2 touchdowns. I need to hit on these home run guys.
Yeah.
I can't worry about my floor, because even just worrying about my floor, you might only get 110, and Jude on a bad week could hit 110 when McCaffrey's in there and Samuels and Eckler. He's got, other than his Chiefs, he's gotten a little bit more solid with those other fill-in players. So I think you got to swing for the fences.
Yep.
Yeah, how did he get all those fill-in guys?
I have no idea. Some moron helped him out.
Some jackwagon decided to give him $10 for a 2020 third.
Yep.
Needless to say, I think we all agreed Jude should take this win.
If you look at this matchup, though, Cam Newton against Cleveland has a chance to keep pace with Mahomes against Baltimore.
Yep.
Tariq Cohen last week was ridiculous. And there's a chance, if Cam Newton is passing all over the place or rushing touchdowns, there's a chance that McCaffrey piles up a bunch of yardage but doesn't score. So Cohen could take him. Phillip Lindsay went absolutely bananas last week and has been looking way better than I want him to look. But he's doing really well. Jalen Samuels is a complete unknown. Is he even going to be the lead back, or is he going to be Stephen Ridley? I don't think anybody knows. Yeah. So if you just look at the top 3, he can hold up. If Mahomes throws touchdowns to Conley and, whoever else, there's
anyone not named Hill or Kelsey.
Well, Travis Kelce is more than likely going to catch 4, but it's just, there's a chance. Is it likely? No, but I would put this one as a better chance than Monty has.
Yeah, I agree. I think it all boils down to that Baltimore defense.
Yeah, you just hope that they live up to their billing, but more than likely the Chiefs' offense is for real, and there isn't a way to stop them because they're so dynamic.
Yep.
But, Baltimore has one of the best defenses in the NFL if anybody can do it. If this game was in Baltimore, I'd feel better about it.
Yeah. If you're Baltimore, do you go, all right, Hunt is gone. That threat is out the window. They're now on their backup running back. Let's drop back. Let's make them run the ball. Let's, cover everybody you can in the pass game and make them beat you running.
Baltimore's front 7 can handle the Chiefs' running attack. That's not a problem. I think the problem with dropping back is, do you drop back into a zone and Mahomes is smart enough to pick you apart, or do you drop back in man-to-man, in which case as soon as you turn your back, Mahomes is going to run all over the place? How do you drop back in coverage? The only way to beat him is to keep him in the pocket and sack him. So they have a good defensive line that can get some penetration. They're going to have to bring a little bit of pressure, and they're going to have to keep somebody over the top of Hill.
Yeah.
But
they know that. They don't need me to tell them.
It's just tough when Kansas City has so many weapons, where with Hill stretching the field, where he can burn even very fast cornerbacks. He's faster than everyone, and Mahomes can outthrow anyone. It doesn't matter. And so you always have to worry about that. And with that stretching your defense 40, 50, 60 yards, it leaves up so much room for everyone to work underneath that Mahomes doesn't have to necessarily be supremely accurate or putting things into tight windows, because there's just so much space.
Right.
And so it's really tough. I mean, I think that's what defenses have seen all season long, that when you play the Chiefs, you got to pick your poison. You're either going to bring pressure and he's going to make you pay because he's going to pick up on your blitz, or you sit back and let him pick you apart and slowly move down the field. And I just think it's going to be, if someone's going to do it, I think that I think Baltimore has as good of a chance as anyone because it's probably one of the best defenses that the Chiefs have played all year. But I think it's going to be tough. I got my fingers crossed for it because I want it to happen. I'd love to see it, but I'm not holding my breath.
Exactly.
Yep. On to the next matchup. I think we all agree Jude gets the check mark for that matchup as well. On to the 3 and 6 matchup. That is Jake and myself. Fun fact: I'll actually be visiting Jake this Sunday, watching football at his home with him and his family. Megan and William will be coming with. So, not planned that way, of course.
I bought the extra large box of Kleenex for when he cries.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, so I don't have to bring my own then?
Complete with the lotion baked in, so it doesn't give you chapped eyes. Yep.
Aw, that's sweet of you. Well, it's a good thing I'm bringing enough beer to, soothe your sadness. So.
Oh, it's gonna be sad.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You look at the matchups, it should be a win, but who knows? Nick Chubb could, dominate like he does. I'm not terribly worried about Coleman against Green Bay. I don't know. It's kind of the same situation with what Jason has. He's got a lot of his guys playing pretty early. I've got my 3 studs playing in the afternoon, so that makes me a little bit more happy having, David Johnson, Antonio Brown, and Ezekiel Elliott playing that 3:25 game, where Jake has Allen Robinson playing that Sunday night, Dante Pettis playing at 3:05, and then the Broncos playing at 3:05 as well. So I'll take my second half guys over his second half guys every day with that matchup.
No bias on that at all. No,
wouldn't you?
I think that in so what program did you plug this matchup into that gave me there was a 35% chance? That's
no. 35% was
Elijah. I think you had about
15%.
15? That's more like it.
That was Fantasy Pros.
Matt Ryan has been atrocious on the road. They're going to have to try to keep up with Green Bay, but if you watched him last week, you probably cried.
Actually, in the last 5 games, Matt Ryan has been better on the road than he has been at home. Washington, he got 32 points.
Last week he made me want to cry.
Yeah, he was at home against Baltimore.
Right, but still.
Yeah.
Maybe Mahomes will do what Ryan did last week. That'd be great.
Oh, we can only hope.
Nick Chubb is going to do Nick Chubb things. If there's a game for Coleman to get right, it's against Green Bay's defense. I don't give myself a 15% chance even, but I don't think that Ben scores 129 either with some of the matchups he's got over here. I don't think that the Baltimore offense is going to be able to run through Gus Edwards. I think they're going to have to put it on Lamar Jackson a little bit more. Michael Thomas could score 30 or 40 easy. David Johnson could be held in check, to be honest with you, if you believe in – well, the Lions' rush defense has been quite a bit better since they traded for Harrison in the middle there. Obviously, if he gets into the passing game more, but does Edmonds steal 2 touchdowns from him? Is that a thing now, or is that just a fluky deal? I don't know. It didn't make sense during the game. It doesn't really make sense now. I think that it could be closer than people think, but I think that the smart money would be you. I don't know if I would bet you to cover the 25, but
yeah, Michael Thomas was actually held out of practice today with an ankle injury.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Okay, well, as long as you hope so or think so.
Oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah, all I know is my bench like my flex position, like if for some reason I decided to pull Gus Edwards, move Zeke into the running back slot and needed to play a flex, I'd probably be tossing Gronk into that flex position because I don't have a flex play anymore now that AJ Green is out. I mean, maybe Marcus Valdez-Scantling, but he is such a
He
boomer
was
bust
terrible
play.
last week.
Yeah, like he's a guy that you gotta hope that he gets a touchdown or he's not going to do anything. And I can't put Jason Myers in my flex position because you can't put kickers there. So
No, you can't.
no.
I do think that if for some reason they decide Michael Thomas isn't progressing as much as they hoped, and they have such a huge divisional lead, and they just it's better for their playoff concerns to not risk him getting any further injury. And Breeze has been able to throw it all around for his entire career to much less prolific wide receivers. If that happens and you have to put in another wide receiver, then this matchup I think gets a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And
I
that
think
1 point advantage is beneficial then.
You just know that Dante Pettis is going for 25, so you can just mark that one down. I don't know what this 5.5 projection nonsense is.
Well, as long as he gets, a couple touchdowns and knocks down the Broncos points, I'm fine with it. So
No, he's just going to get all yardage.
all yardage.
Yep. 250 yards receiving.
He's going to get a 0-yard reception, fumble it, and then the Broncos are going to recover.
Probably return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, Pettis can get a couple touchdowns as long as Mullins throws a pick six or two.
Mullins is good for at least one pick six.
You got to think.
Strip sack. Oh,
Yeah, he should be good. I do think that Ben has some good matchups with Breeze at Tampa Bay. Breeze put up 35 points when he played Tampa week 1. Yeah, that was also true. And
Fitz magic. Ugh.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, he's not playing this week. So.
That's true. I mean, Kansas City has been able to be run against, so I think Gus Edwards can do something. Oakland gave up like 6 weeks ago. I think Oakland might have given up when Gruden was hired, and so there's a chance Antonio Brown could go off for a ton of points. Also a chance that Juju Smith-Schuster, it's one of his weeks, and Brown has a little bit less prolific of a day. And that Eagles run defense has been sneakily better as the season has progressed. And so other than the 90-yard rush by AP where they made a mistake on that play, but if that doesn't happen, they likely held AP in check for that game.
Well, he had a 90-yard rushing touchdown and didn't have 100 yards on the day.
Exactly. And so right, and the Redskins stopped giving him the ball, and so when you only get 8 more touches after that, it doesn't really. Right. In addition to that, it yeah, but I think in all likelihood Ben's probably going to win, and probably by a lot. Kind of similar to the Elijah and Jude matchup. Jake, you probably need to have your guys hit. Like Pettis needs to have another 5 or 6 catch, 130-yard, 2 touchdown day. Robinson needs to go off. Everyone probably has to have a good day, and you need some help from Ben to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, especially if anything further happens with Michael Thomas's injury, I think it puts Ben in a real tough position, because there's a real chance that, because your only option at a wide receiver is to start Scantling, right? You have to start Valdez Scantling. Yep. There's a chance that he puts up 0 or 1 or 2, and so
or 11.
I mean, he could. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is throwing the football, there's a chance that he could get a long bomb that he gets open on, and he gets 1 catch for 60 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's always a possibility playing in that offense. But I think it could be, with Thomas out, I think it makes the matchup interesting. But I don't think that's likely, but possible.
No, I think that I would be willing to stake quite a bit on that he just got a breather today. It's a Wednesday practice. A lot of veterans get Wednesday off.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything.
All right.
Hope not, because I need him in another league.
There you go. Yeah, can't catch Mike.
That's right.
Or can't guard
Can't
Mike.
guard Mike.
Can't guard Mike. There you go. But yeah, so the last matchup that we have here is Max and Phil. Again, Max is the home team, so he's going to get, or no, Phil's the home team. He's going to get that 1 point boost. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Phil got the 4 seed.
Okay, Phil did get the 4 seed. Okay.
And he's projected to lose.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
He is. Yeah, by 7. So I don't know. This one's going to be interesting. I mean, Watson and Hopkins, they haven't really connected much just because Watson can't get more than 1 touchdown, it seems.
Indianapolis's defense is the remedy for that.
I mean, yeah.
They don't have a corner who can stick with Nook Hopkins.
No, that's true. And I need Hopkins to do well in another league also, so I got to root for him a little bit. But I mean, like Dion Lewis, I don't want to play Dion Lewis against Jacksonville.
Nope.
I don't want to play Dion Lewis against anybody.
Nope.
I want to play LaShawn McCoy less than I want to play Dion Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, McCoy.
Half of their wide receivers, though. They're not going to have much of a choice but to give them the ball 30 times.
Yeah, we've been saying that all year about LaShawn McCoy, though, that they've got nothing else beside him, and he still has awful games.
But now they cut Kelvin Benjamin, so that matters.
They cut a lot of dead weight.
He is a big man.
Well,
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey or no Whoopi Goldberg, right? That's what he looks like.
pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean McCoy, he could put up a huge dud. Not terribly excited about that, but Phil's got this Rams defense going up against Chicago. It's supposed to be Trubisky coming back, so we'll see how he holds up against them, whether he gets injured again or not. That's going to make a huge defense as far as that scoring. Will Lutz, number 2 kicker in the NFL, could put up a bunch of points, or he could put up, he could put up 3 points, or he could put up, 17. Just depends on if they get touchdowns or if they kick field goals. That's going to be a huge determining factor there.
I don't love the matchups on the other side, though.
For Max or for
Jordan Reed and Adrian Peterson have to rely on Mark Sanchez, I believe, who's going to be the starting quarterback in Washington. I don't think that puts fear into anybody other than Washington Redskins fans.
Yep.
So, that's a 21-point projection that could very easily be 5. That could this offense could legitimately be absolutely stagnant the entire day.
Yeah.
Thielen against Seattle. Seattle's defense, I don't understand why, because they've lost so many pieces, but they haven't been playing terrible. And it's in Seattle. They play better there. Aaron Jones could score 30. No problem. Saquon Barkley is safe. Andrew Luck put up an absolute dud last week against Jacksonville. Houston's defense is statistically better this year than Jacksonville's by a long shot. It's a divisional matchup. They know the Colts really well. And even if Luck does break one loose, what are the chances that it goes to Hilton, which then helps Phil more than it helps Max?
Yep.
I think there's good and bad matchups on both sides. This is really the only one with much parity this week.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a single-digit match. If I had to put my stamp on one, I don't know. I'm probably going to put it on Phil just because I can't bet against Todd Gurley.
I think originally I was probably going to go with Max, but once you brought up the Luck Hilton combination there, I mean, a receiving touchdown is significantly more points than a passing touchdown. because you get more points per yard as a receiver. You get that half point in the PPR setting, and you only get 0.1 points for every 5 yards as a pass. So whether it's a 10-yard pass, a 1-yard pass, whatever, Hilton is going to keep Andrew Luck in check, assuming Hilton gets the ball.
Well, Luck likes to pass to the tight end, but I've watched a little bit of the Texans this year, and it seems to me at watching them that really the strength of their defense is their front seven. Obviously, the two defensive ends are absolutely bananas how good they are. But their linebackers in coverage are really, really good. They're fast, they're long, and they're going to be able to stick with Ebron, I think, which is going to kind of take away that middle of the field. I think if there is a weakness, it's the corners. It's the safety. Yeah. Tyrann Mathieu is gonna guess wrong a couple of times. Those corners are gonna get beat because Ty isn't Tyreek Hill, but he's not slow.
Yep. And the Houston defense against tight ends, they've only given up 3 100-yard games. They've given up a touchdown here and there. The last 100-yard game was against Tennessee for tight ends. I think that was, the Jonnu Smith, or however you say his name, Jonnu Smith. He got those receptions, those big yards, that big play early on, and then they shut him down. Yeah. So there was a mistake. It got fixed. What's that?
Have these two teams played yet this year?
They did. Week 4, there was 5 receptions for 40 yards and a touchdown, so 12.5 total points between tight ends. Now there's only one tight end in Indianapolis in Ebron, so
that depends on if Mo Alley Cox is playing.
There you go.
I mean,
Luck also threw for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns in that matchup. Granted, it was week 4; it was a long time ago, but
they've tightened it up a lot. Houston has done.
Yep. I think that the linchpin of this matchup between Max and Phil, if the Houston Indy game is a low scoring affair, if it's a total of like less than 25 points, if both defenses somehow show up and no one is scoring, I think that benefits Max quite a bit. I think he wins. If this game is a shootout and everyone's scoring points, I don't see how Phil loses, because Hilton's going to get in on that action. Hopkins is going to get in. Watson's going to play well, and that's 3 guys that are going to be scoring a lot of points to Max's 1. And I don't think he's got the firepower throughout the rest of his lineup to go get that. If I'm him, I think I'm sitting Jordan Reed and I'm playing David Njoku and hoping that Baker Mayfield. That seems like an easy decision for me, and I'm even considering doing of playing Doug Baldwin instead of AP. I know he's probably drawing Xavier Rhodes, but there's a chance that they put Baldwin in the slot a lot, that Lockett might be more doing stuff on the outside, that he might draw Rhodes a little more. AP scares me so much that we, as a person who watched every game of Adrian Peterson's Viking career, where when he didn't have a good passing game to go with it that was productive, where people loading the box to take him out of the game, they could do it. And granted, he could break one big run, but if he doesn't break that run, he's getting you nothing. There's a chance, you were right, Jake, there's a chance that AP puts up 2-3 points. There's a chance he could do nothing. And in a week where you're worrying and trying to get the most points as possible in a matchup that's going to be close, I'm trying to do something that's got a better chance of success than Reed and AP. That's a scary, like, that's something that you'll look back at the end of the week and being like, if I start anyone who gets me any amount of points, like I get 6 points from Njoku and 6 points from Baldwin, I could win, because I think that matchup could be that close. Like, it could just be a couple point swing, and I don't think you want to be kicking yourself over the fact that you started 2 guys who just put up duds.
I start Njoku 100 times out of 100. in this situation. And if he switches Njoku into the starting lineup, I switch my vote. And Max, I would pick Max to win. I think getting AP out of there is a good idea too. I don't know who it would be. Doug Baldwin is scary because didn't Wilson throw like 11 passes last week total? It's just not throwing.
Jason, I can hear Max listening to this podcast and going, Jason, you're wrong about Thielen. You're wrong about AP all season. You have no idea what you're talking about. Aaron Jones is a top 10 running back. I'm going to win this week. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a joke for him to play, not play Reed and Peterson last week. But this week, I don't know. I think Reed's an okay play because if Butt Fumble is going to throw to anyone, he's going to check it down to either his running back or his tight end. AP, I probably wouldn't play just because if I'm New York, I'm going to stack the box and make Butt Fumble throw the ball. Mark Sanchez, couldn't think of his name. I would probably play somebody else in place of AP, whether, like you said, that being Baldwin or someone else. But I don't know. I'd keep reading, but I wouldn't play AP.
If you made me pick an over-under at 5 points for Reed, I would pick the under every single time. I'd hammer that bet.
Yeah, I might too. Oh.
Let's
They legitimately might not score.
Yeah. Yeah, real chance for that. Especially, I mean, they're down even more offensive linemen now. They're basically playing an entire backup offensive line. It could be brutal. The Giants could just tear them apart. And I mean, we've seen weeks where there have been quarterbacks who it doesn't matter how far you're down and how many times you have to throw. When your offensive line is that bad, I mean, we've seen it with Eli Manning on the other side of the ball. When his offensive line is so bad, he's throwing 30 times a game, but he's only completing like 13, 15, 17 passes, and the average depth of target is like at the line of scrimmage. He's dumping it off to Barkley constantly. So there's a real chance that it could just be a complete train wreck in Washington, and no one's scoring anything.
So it happened to Phillip Rivers a couple of years ago when his entire offensive line was bad. He was a high draft pick, well thought of quarterback that year, and he was terrible. But he didn't have time to throw it.
Yep.
So I just pulled up Fantasy Pros and did the sit start tool. Njoku, Baldwin, Reed, and Peterson. Comparing all three, saying, hey, who should I start? What percentages do you think the experts gave for each person to sit or for each position to start?
Each position? So you're going all four of them?
All four against each other.
So total percentage is 100 with all four.
Yep.
There's only one running back in there, so my guess is he's probably the highest.
At what percent? Screw percentages. How do you think they had him ranked 1, 2, 3, 4?
I mean, since he's the only running back in there, my assumption is he's probably in the 65-ish% range. Next is probably Baldwin in the 20s, and then the tight ends are next to nothing.
Jason?
Yeah, I think I agree with Jake's logic that AP probably has that highest, in theory, as a running back should have the highest floor. So I bet you it's AP. AP and Njoku, Baldwin, Reed. I think one of the tight ends gets up there. I think people might like Njoku this week against Carolina.
All right. So there's one guy, 0% expert consensus, Adrian Peterson.
Really?
They're smart. I like it.
The Next one up from that was Jordan Reed with 4%.
So they do agree with us.
Yes. So Njoku got a 56%. Doug Baldwin got a 40%. So if you're comparing flex position, tight end position, 100% Njoku, 100% Doug Baldwin, hands down. There's
Wow.
yeah.
I agree with that. I said that already.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Give me the over-under on 10 points for Njoku. I'm going to take the over. I think he scored.
Make it 8.5. I would take the over.
I'll take it at 10. I think he scores a touchdown.
Do you?
I think they're going to need to score to keep up with Carolina.
I would rather be receiving passes from I can't think of his name.
Baker
Mayfield. I'd rather be taking passes from Baker Mayfield than I would butt fumble.
For sure.
Sanchez.
Yeah.
I'd rather be taking passes from you.
me right-handed.
That's right.
Yeah.
With those two switches, I probably do favor Max.
Oh my gosh.
If
Absolutely.
You leave the Washington stack in there, I think Phil's going to take him down, and I think Max is going to kick himself for a year.
Yeah, I mean,
I can almost guarantee though that if Max is listening or does listen before Sunday, he's going to hear us say this. He's going to get stubborn. He's going to choose not to put them in, even if he thinks it's a good idea, because we've all said it, and then he's going to lose, and it's going to make it even better.
It would
make it even better.
And then if he does switch it,
totally impossible to live with if he wins even with them, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we told you, Max. We told you it was a good idea to switch it around. But yeah, let's wrap this up. Who do you think? Not any ifs or if this or if that. In a vacuum, who gets the W from you guys
in this game?
In this matchup?
As it sits right now, Phil.
Yep, Phil.
I would agree. I think Phil's going to take the win, which would be interesting because the only time that the top teams have ever moved was the first year that we had was when the top teams all moved to the second round. Other than that, somebody has lost. So, but weirder things have happened. That's definitely for sure. Other quick hits on the news for the league. Obviously, there's no trading this week. There wasn't any waivers. Thank you guys for not putting any waiver claims because I would have been annoyed.
I'm pretty sure everyone has 0 fab. So
I made that adjustment at 10 o'clock today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I adjusted all of that, so
yeah,
that helped. But yeah, Adam did take last place. So he did get his name changed. There were me, Jason, and Jude. We all had a private chat on Slack, figuring out what names he was going to pick. And Adam picked mine. Homeless, need fab, God bless. So yeah,
that was the best name. I'm very glad that he chose it. That's great.
Yeah. So Jude had the option of what's that guy's name? Man, I'm so bad at names right now.
Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson's team or something like that. And then Jason had Andrew Barnes is greater than Adam Fisher, and Adam's like, "Come on, guys, I won a championship. Don't take that away from me."
If we would have waited, I would have found a joke with Adam's bidet. I would have found something in there, but we picked the name one day too early.
Day late and $1 short, right?
That's right.
So yeah. So Adam will have this name as it stands. Adam will have this name until he either takes first place during regular season, or wins a championship, or takes last place again. We'll see if that stays that way or not. Adam is making a tombstone currently, or has made a tombstone that he is going to put all the retired names on. So we'll probably start this year just because last year, Andrew Barnes was the one that lost, but we replaced him in the league, so we didn't really have the punishment in place. So Adam will put "Hey, you guys" on that tombstone, and it'll be a name that can't be used again in the league. So
There we go.
Hashtag don't take last.
Yep. Yeah. Don't take last. I mean, it's the thing I like about it is like it's a lighthearted punishment. It's nothing public. And I don't know. It's fun being able to choose your own name, and that's why we have the top 3 guys give him an option, because then he has at least some say as to what his team's going to be for a while. So
the only thing I think about it is you should probably whatever.
Put a yearly cap of it or something.
No, I think that you should. I think that to get out of it, to be able to choose your own name again, all you should have to do is get out of the bottom 4, make the playoffs. Just seems like if you take it from a team that's so, let's say Alex lost this year, which probably should have happened. The amount of years that it's going to take him to get from where his team is now, likely, to winning, like that, there's a very real possibility that never happens.
Yeah,
could be a decade at least.
I'd be willing to adjust it to top 4 or championship. Gives him a little bit more.
Man. I'm not planning on taking last, so.
Yeah, no, me either. I don't. My team would have to do a lot to take last. I don't know. We can discuss it in the off season.
Drew Brees is going to retire, and your team's going to be terrible. Actually,
it's not going to be terrible. Drew Brees is not going to retire. He's going to play for like.
He's going to retire. Zeke Elliott's going to sexually harass somebody again.
That's very possible.
It is possible.
It's actually like.
Hold on. Over under. What happens first? Drew Brees retires or Elliott harasses someone?
Oh, Elliott for sure.
That's like even money.
Brees has got at least a year, maybe 2 left. Zeke's got maybe 6 months before that happens.
Off season's going to be here soon enough. Are they even playoff contention?
The Cowboys?
Yeah, they're
in first, aren't they, in the division?
Tied with the Eagles.
Tied for first.
Well,
they're right up there.
The longer he's playing football, the less trouble he should get into.
Should is the operative word there.
Yes, it is the operative word there. All right, I got to get going. My kid needs to get a bath tonight, so thank you guys for tuning in. We had a whole 0 viewers tonight, so Max must have been doing something else because he's generally him and Adam, I think, are generally our only 2 viewers. Zach will be able to listen in tomorrow, so hey, Zach. Yeah. You can find Jake on Twitter. You can find Jason on Twitter, and you can find me on Slack. So that's it. Take care, everyone.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.